Hey guys, Justin Nelson here. And if you're a business owner, consultant, entrepreneur, or service based business owner looking to possibly hire a virtual assistant between $3 and $7 an hour, you are in the right place. We are here to help you direct hire a virtual assistant so you can get your time back, close more deals, increase profit margins, and stop doing the work that you don't have time to do. So, just want to take a step back real fast and thank you for taking time to watch this video. This quick video is designed to give you some context for the call you're about to schedule below with our team and to give you some framing on what's going to happen on that call. You can obviously just skip this call if you want. You're on this page because a partner of ours has obviously sent you here to get more information about their virtual assistant services. But I know that just spending a few minutes on this video will make your call with our team way more productive if you have just a little bit of baseline knowledge. And again, if you already have that baseline knowledge from our partner and everything that their virtual assistants do, then you can obviously skip this. But I still highly recommend, if you have the time, to take 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes to take a watch on this video. So I want to thank you for your time. I know you're super busy. You got referred here, and I want to just kind of explain what we're going to go through today. So I'm going to explain, why you're here. You might be feeling a sense of overwhelm. You might feel like you need 5 more team members to finish all the marketing, the lead gen, the sales, the servicing, the admin work that you have to coordinate as a business owner. You might feel like you don't have enough time in the day for everything. You bounce between fixing things in lead gen, marketing, sales, and servicing, and just all the fires that go on throughout the day, all while feeling sometimes while profit margins may be being squeezed, right? Which is leading to putting out fires daily, riding the revenue roller coaster, declining profits, maybe a fire or unable to hire key employees, right? Questioning sometimes why you're a business owner, which really sucks because you have an amazing business. You over deliver for your clients. You are way better than your competition, yet you know what it's like when things are going great, but you also know what it's like to feel overwhelmed. All of a sudden, you just burn out due to the lack of time. And so or maybe you're on this call and those aren't issues of yours. Most of us always have those issues, but or maybe you're just crushing it and scaling so fast and just need affordable world-class talent. And so everyone is here watching this quick video and considering hiring someone for a different reason, a different position, a different reason during their journey. And so here's the harsh truth: businesses are meant to have multiple people. But how many people, right? Probably more than you have now. That's something I've learned on my entrepreneurship owner journey. Is I always need more people than I have now. And so you probably know that, right? You probably feel that in your day-to-day business. So let me give you an example. Let's take a doctor, for example. A doctor doesn't do everything themselves, right? They have someone running their ads and their marketing, their Google business pages. They have a nurse/assistant in the office helping them coordinate patients and take the initial intakes. They have someone at the front desk doing the paperwork, the billing, the scheduling. I mean, they even just have an assistant just to field calls after you leave the doctor's office with any questions you have, right? And like I said, they have an admin for billing and insurance collections, and they have an admin for financial books. And so you can see just an example of a business owner with some leverage. When you're a doctor, you're expected to have all of those things, and you very rarely see a doctor without those systems in place. However, could you imagine going to a doctor if he or she did everything? Like you came in to check in, it's the doctor. In between calls, it's the doctor. You call and they don't answer because it's the doctor that's in charge of that. Could you imagine the doctor doing the marketing and the lead gen? You'd be like, no, that would be an absolute crazy mess of a business to walk into. Yet that's what the average entrepreneur/owner does. That's what I did at the early beginnings of my career. It's here's the thing: as themselves, the average entrepreneur has themselves doing way too much, wearing too many hats, right? You might have an intern, you might have someone who helps you here and there. You might be hiring an agency, for marketing to help you with your marketing. You might consider hiring people to help you with your lead gen. You've tried to buy leads, you've tried to have cold callers, you've tried all these different things, right? The average owner avoids building a team due to the monthly cost, right? They avoid hiring due to how much time it costs, right? How much time it takes to hire and train and onboard and all of those different things. And so when we get to the root of it, why do we as business owners delay hiring, right? It's obviously it costs money. Duh, right? I will have to spend time finding someone, right? You have to spend time hiring, going through resumes, going through interviews. just the thought of having to onboard them holds some of us back, right? I have to train them, keep them accountable. Well, what if I do all of this and invest all this time and then they leave? Even if I didn't do anything wrong, I have to replace them and start that whole process over again. And then on top of that, we look around at the economy, inflation's at an all-time high, which means the cost of services is up for your consumer. They're more skeptical of where they're going to spend their money, which means costs are up for you, because you have to raise prices and you're having to buy things and hire people that are having to obviously afford things. So, and yet competition's everywhere, right? Your marketing has to be more sophisticated with AI and all the new things. Your prospects are doing more research. Technology is moving at a lightning speed, going over some of our heads a lot of the time. And your prospects, though, just want to make sure you're the best option for them, right? And so this is why you feel stuck by trying to do everything yourself with too small of a team. So you're trying to have the best marketing, the best lead generation, the best service, the best reviews, the best finance, the making sure that you're paying your taxes on time and that legal is all handled and you're compliant and you have a good admin team and all of these different things. And yet, when we look at two examples here, we have the solopreneurs who might be watching this, that your name is on every bucket of your business, right? If you take a look at the screen, every bucket of the business you're responsible for. You might even take a small business that has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, and yet you're still going to be the one wearing the hats in a lot of these departments. You might have a few delegated, but you're going to have a lot of them still with your hat and your time and your energy, which ultimately takes you away from doing the things you love and spending time with your family. And so if you don't believe me, think back over the last 180 days. How many times did you ask yourself, what should I do next? Or I wish I had the time to get to this next marketing project or this new lead gen strategy, or I just need to get back to the basics of my customer service, right? And did you have someone to assign that new project to, right? As the CEO, as the owner, did you have someone to say, hey, Bob, hey, Sarah, I need you to start this initiative and here's the plans? Or did you have to do it yourself? Most likely you had to do it, whether it was for lead gen, marketing, sales, whatever it was that you wanted to do, which we know how that goes if you had to do it yourself, right? You started the project, had good intentions, and then a fire started or life happened, and you just didn't have the time to get that new project done. So let me give you the solution to that. Business owners you strive to be like, right? The ones with good margins, good families are no different or better than you. They just have more leverage than you, right? You're watching this for a reason. You were sent here by a partner. You found us online because you desired that leverage. So I commend you for taking the few minutes to watch this. Every business, though, has the same core pillars, right? Every business, no matter how big or how small, has marketing, lead generation, sales conversion, follow up, for example, fulfillment, customer service, and then you have all the admin junk, right? Admin, tax, finance, bookkeeping, all of those things. And yet, just some people have more help than you do to accomplish those same pillars. So when they have more helper people, which means they have more leverage, it allows you to have more sales and time back for you when other people are doing those things. And after consulting 3,900 plus business owners and hiring those business owners 8,313 virtual assistants and building 1,000 plus SOPs, we created a streamlined virtual assistant system that allows you to increase your team size in the cheapest way possible while maintaining quality people. And we call it the direct hire virtual assistant model. This is a one-of-a-kind hiring and onboarding system that attracts high caliber VAs with hourly wages ranging from $3 to $7 an hour. Not a VA just for data entry, but top class, world class talent that can come in and change your business. So while you may not have a limited, an unlimited hiring budget, right? You may have a limited hiring budget. We know that $3 to $7 an hour fits into almost all budgets. So why VAs from the Philippines? They usually come with a corporate background working for Fortune 500 ranked US based companies. They usually have college degrees, world-class talent that has so much experience in working with US-based businesses. Incredible English, work ethic, you name it. Now, the direct hire model gets them interested in working directly for you on your team, instead of the traditional model of hiring a VA staffing company that, ultimately they hire them and then you get to subcontract them and they're scraping pieces of their hourly pay. That just overall is a broken model. And so the direct hire model unlocks so many benefits. It draws the best corporate talent in the world and not just free, random freelancers assistants, right? If you wanted those, if you needed someone for just a few hours a week here or there for tasks, places like Fiverr or Upwork are great fits for you if you just need some random one-off tasks done. But if you want someone dedicated to your business 20 plus hours a week that actually cares about the success and doing the job right, and they're going to be there every single day that you need them, then this is most likely a good option for you, right? A simple system that allows the virtual assistant to come into your business and work directly for you, not for a virtual assistant company, and take over complete departments of your company for much cheaper than you could ever imagine. Virtual assistants are the new growth hack. And so hiring a VA is the easiest, most sustainable, and long term method to achieving consistent growth while not increasing your workload, which enables you to build a world class team, remove yourself from the day to day, and live a more balanced life. The right virtual assistant helps you avoid burnout, fatigue, and everything, from resting on your shoulders. And so I know this because it exploded my team from 1 to 150 plus virtual assistant team members, which in turn exploded my revenue, and in turn even increased my local team to 30 plus people that I could never have dreamed of affording in the early parts of my career. But because of my virtual assistants, it has skyrocketed our profit margins. It jumped things like our lead generation efforts up over 230%, jumped our marketing pieces from 200 a year to 2,000 plus pieces a month. My business now with virtual assistants was in full compliance at all times, right? I had a tax team, a finance team, someone was running my P&Ls, my marketing team was in check. And it was all because I hired virtual assistants that made it affordable for me to have people in all of those departments. We went from I'm drowning in tasks to knowing that every time we needed a new hire in our business, that most likely we could hire them for $3 to $7 an hour from the Philippines as a virtual assistant. And so we knew that we could infinitely scale. And we knew this because businesses like IBM, Airbnb, Uber, all of these massively successful businesses were using corporate talent from the Philippines. And yet we found the typical business owners that did not have as high of budgets or spend or revenue were having to hire expensive local based employees, which again, I want to hire a ton of local based employees, but there's certain times in my business where I needed a VA hire at $3 to $7 an hour to bridge that gap. And that's most likely why you're here. And so we obviously can help you hire 75 plus different positions, right? There's just a few on the screen. Most likely you already know of one in your head that you're thinking about hiring. And so we haven't talked about this, but it's like, who is this guy, right? Who's this guy shooting this video? My name's Justin Nelson. You can look me up. I'll be all over the internet, but I am known as the virtual assistant guru, right? I grew my own personal business from 0 to $19 million in 4 years, serving 3,900 plus business owners. And I now have 100 plus virtual assistant team members. And that has allowed us to help hire, probably again, while you're here, 8,300 virtual assistants hired just for business owners, just like you, across 75 plus industries and about 75 plus positions. And so my mission is to help you build a business that serves you instead of serving it. I enjoy this kind of freedom in my life now because of the direct hire virtual assistant model. So real fast before we let you go and schedule your call, we're going to go through a quick 5-step blueprint of what you can expect to go through on this call. The very first thing on the call is we're going to help you identify the constraint in your business, right? I'm kind of nerdy. I have an engineering background, and the theory of constraints applies to businesses. And it says there's only one constraint in a business at any given time, right? You may think your constraint's marketing, lead gen, but maybe your constraint is you don't have an executive assistant, right? So we're going to work with you on that call to identify what is your real constraint and what position would make the most impact to your profit margins and to your time sanity in your business. And once we know that, it usually comes down to a few things over and over again, right? You have too much admin work, so you need an executive assistant, right? You're not doing enough lead gen. You don't have enough sales. You don't have a good enough marketing department. Your fulfillment's lacking when you get a sale, right? Client retention is horrid, right? You're trying to actually hire or recruit. These are all possible constraints in your business, and yet we all know the answer, right? If you're buried in admin work, hire an EA. If you're buried, if you've buried in lead gen or you're just avoiding it and not getting it to you, maybe it's an ISA, a setter, a closer, right? If you need more sales, maybe you need to hire salespeople, right? Maybe in marketing, you need a social media manager, a video editor, someone that understands the platforms you're trying to get onto, right? Fulfillment, You need people in your fulfillment team, right? Client retention, maybe you need customer service managers. The answer is different for every single business, which is why it's so critical for our team to take that call with you. And so for me personally, when I first got started with virtual assistants 6+ years ago, my first constraint was being buried in admin work. So my first hire needed to be an executive assistant. This is Shireen. I got the honor to go and visit her several times in the Philippines along with my 150 team members, but she was my very first hire ever. $3 an hour was my executive assistant, and she came in and 40 hours a week did everything that I did not have the time or bandwidth to get to. And I redirected all of my energy into scaling the business and making more sales and increasing the amount of lead gen to increase our revenue. And so once I figured out my constraint, number two is I had to ask myself, can that position be done virtually, right? 90+% of positions can be done virtually, even if you think it's kind of tricky. So our job on the call is to help you understand how that job can be done virtually. Number three is how do I recruit the role, right? Whenever I recruit virtual assistants or any role, even in the United States, I want 1,000+ applications for my position that I'm trying to hire for. And so you can either go do all the recruitment yourself or you can trust a company like ours to do it. But we'll walk you through, obviously, what it looks like to recruit that type of role. What kind of talent can you get? Is it $3 an hour? Is it $6 an hour? Like, what does that position warrant in your business? And then step number four, we're going to give you best tips, practices, and tricks on onboarding, obviously, a quality VA. And then number five is like, how do we keep the VAs accountable, right? When you hire someone directly, how do you keep the VA accountable, making sure they're showing up and doing the right things to move your business forward? Once you figure out those 5 steps, then all we have to do is just repeat that for every constraint, right? So for most of you that are watching this video, you're only going to need to hire 1 to 2 VAs probably at most over the next few months. But once you solidify and figure out how to do it, it's going to become very addicting to do it again and again and again as your revenue scales. And so, like I said, you're probably going to start position by position, right? It makes no sense for you to go hire an executive assistant, an ISA, a setter, a closer, a marketing, a finance person all the day, even if you had the funds to, because it would just be a little overwhelming for you to manage that many people. And so again, we have a 6-step process that we're going to cover on the call with you when you jump on with our team. And so once you get on that call and we identify the constraint, my team will obviously help you with the following things, right? If you're like, hey, I need a virtual assistant, I'm all in on this, let's get started. My team is obviously on the call for free, no obligation. They're going to help you identify where your constraint is at. You might already know it, right? But we're going to make sure to confirm that with you. And then from there, our team will help you direct hire a VA so that you get the most affordable rates without an hourly upcharge scrape, et cetera, for key hires. Once we find you that VA and you select one, we'll help you onboard the VAs with proven SOPs and systems and processes. I have thousands of SOPs we've written and put into place, and so it's going to save you a lot of legwork to be able to implement that VA onto your team. Because again, they're working for you, they're not working for me, which makes us very different than any VA company you will find in the world. And so with that, we're going to give you our proven $19+ million onboarding guides, tracking system, accountability. How do I make sure my VAs show up? How do I track their pay? How do I do all of these things to where it's just simple clicks of a button to make sure that these things are in place? We're obviously going to create a custom strategy dependent on the position you hire, right? You hiring an ISA is very different than you hiring an executive assistant, different than a marketing or a video editor. And so we need to really nail the first position with you, which we'll talk about on the call. From there, we'll help you scale over time if you need multiple hires. We do not have an increased pricing structure where you pay the same amount every time you need a new hire. What's cool is we have a scale method where you actually pay less and less for each new hire over time. And so that's something we can obviously talk about on the call as well. On that call, we're going to give you the accountability and roadmaps you need when you have new hires. One of the things that we do differently than any VA company in the world is when someone comes and does a direct hire with us, we believe that you need a one-on-one coach and your VA needs a one-on-one coach. Now, we're only able to do this because of how profitable our business is and how many staff members I have to give you that extra attention versus virtual assistant companies that would just give you a VA and say, I really hope you have the best of luck and time, getting started with your virtual assistant. Each you and your VA get a one-on-one coach. And so other things you'll obviously also get, our team will get into more detail on it, is private Slack channels with me, my team, and your team, one-on-one calls with our client success managers. That's obviously your one-on-one coach. And then the main thing is obviously when you hire for positions that you've never had before, right? If you've never had an ISA or an executive assistant or, all these different things, you want to be able to send them to weekly coaching calls and trainings. So that way they're bringing you new ideas and new tactics and tricks. If you're like, hey, go learn this AI, well, now they can come into our organization, learn the AI. And those are all things we're going to talk about on that call with your team. So obviously our goal is to get you so leveraged in your business and see such growth that we can help you with the recruitment for every constraint you come across, even though it might just start with one. Because we know once you solve your first constraint, you're always going to have a new one. No matter the size of your business, you always will unlock a new constraint. And so the number one question I get usually out in public is, so what VA do I need, right? My answer is I don't know, right? And that's the purpose of the call is I would need to know more about your business before I could answer that. And that's exactly what the consultation calls are for. So if you guys have any questions, that is what the consultation calls for. You've probably already scheduled one. If you haven't, make sure to go below this video and book a consultation with my team, and they will talk to you everything that it takes to do a direct hire with an awesome virtual assistant that can change your life. So once again, just to recap, we'll audit your current business to identify the biggest constraint bottlenecks to growth and show you how we would install the direct hire virtual assistant model in your business where we do it all for you. And so if you're ready to hire a VA and get your time back and constraints removed, go below this video, book a consultation with my team. I just want to say I thank you again. Most likely, if you're watching this video, you got sent here from one of our awesome partners out in the industry, and our team would love to obviously be able to help integrate you, your VAs, and be able to pull off an amazing hire for you and your team. Can't wait to see you guys on the call.